November 7th, 1998, American Legion Post 20 on the Quarry Road, Plattsburgh. We've been here before, and we're back here again. Generally on the 11th month of the 11th day and the 11th hour, we've spent an awful lot of time here at the American Legion, not only at this venue, but at previous locations as well, because we go back a few years with the American Legion. And I don't want to say Art Maggie is old, but I will say that he and I have an association that goes back more than a few weeks. Arthur, how are you doing?
Good, very good, Gordy, and welcome, Mr. Castine. We appreciate you coming here and doing this for us.
You mentioned so many times how many years we covered the ceremony on the 11th, on Veterans Day live. More years than I can remember, but I know it was 30, 35, 36, 30-something.
I've been a member 37 years, Gordy, and the local radio station yourself has covered not only the Veterans Day services, memorial services for this post live, and the veterans in the community really appreciate that. You don't know how much.
Well, we certainly have enjoyed that association over the years. We're here before Veterans Day for a very important reason. What is going on here today? We got a very prestigious group gathering here. We're here at about 10 minutes after 11, and we got a ceremony coming up at noon. What's that all about?
We have a past state commander, department commander from Hamilton County, Vance Sam Tiger Ketchum, who passed away in February. And he was a very well-liked and very educated individual. An outstanding Legionnaire, and the widow and the family was looking for a place to put his state colors and all of his memorabilia. And Hamilton County has 4 small posts, and none of them were really big enough to hold it, what he had, and the family wanted to keep it all intact. And it was offered to Post 20, seeing we have a new post here, and we gratefully accepted it to display it on their behalf.
Well, you got a ceremony to celebrate that fact today, and you got some VIPs here from all over the state.
Yes, we do. We have 3 past state commanders that'll be here. Our state adjutant, which has served this great department for many years, is our featured speaker. He's coming up from Kingston area this morning. He was down there for another function last night. We have him coming from Utica area and Buffalo area. We just regret that the state commander couldn't make it, but he's on his county visitations with the that he has to do every year to the different counties as part of his tour of duty as the commander of the state.
So it appears to me and to you, because you told me there'll be about 150 people here.
We're looking at 150 plus members here throughout the state today, yes, meaning Legionnaires, Auxiliary, and Sons of the American Legion. We've also invited gas and electric employees to attend, as Mr. Ketchum was a retiree from the New York State Gas and Electric, working up in the Hamilton County Long Lake area.
Hamilton's quite a county, as those people here who view this program in the tri-county region of Clinton, Essex, and Franklin County. It's a wonderful county with an awful lot of wilderness, not too many people, just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful county, Hamilton County. But as you said, they don't have the facilities that you have up here, so
that's right.
You're glad to take it over. This is a pretty big deal for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it hits close to my heart because Sam has been like a mentor to me for a number of years, and he's always been a great individual. And, we're really proud to have this in his honor.
I was trying to remember this morning driving here if I had ever met him. I don't know if he ever made it up to any of our Veterans Day ceremonies in the past.
No, he hasn't, no.
You've been involved so long, there aren't very many people in the Legion in New York State that you haven't met.
No, you're right. I've been around quite a few years now. A good friend of mine from Plattsburgh, Charlie O'Toole, is the one that told me you got to get out of a post to meet people and promote your life you want to be a good Legionnaire, and that's what I've tried to do, to represent the people.
For 37 years?
That's right, Gordy. And I appreciate every bit of it, and I thank my wife for putting up with me on a lot of these trips.
I have to do that all the time. Art, let's talk a little bit about your service background, where you were born and brought up, and where you served, and what that's all about.
I was born and brought up in Saranac, New York, on a farm. I joined the U.S. Marine Corps at 17 years of age. I thought I knew it all till I got into boot camp. And I got
really fast.
I got a rude awakening and a lot of discipline awful quick. And I thought I had all the discipline that my father taught me, but theirs and my father's were 2 different types. But I served early Vietnam. I did not serve a tour of duty in Vietnam. I served statewide. I did serve a year and a half in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And I finished my career with the Marines out at the 3rd Marine Air Wing in El Toro, California. It was a great career. I was served 5 years of active duty. I regret that I didn't continue on and do the whole 20 years or better. But hindsight, you can never go back.
You certainly have served veterans over the years, and so it didn't take you long to learn what Semper Fi meant, huh?
So you betcha. And I still respect that discipline that they taught me today.
Every time I see that bumper sticker on somebody's car, I want to salute them.
That's right. It's a great organization, the Marine Corps, and every veterans organization is great.
We're never quite sure when this program is going to be aired, but sometime in the fall or winter of 1998. But you have some very nice things planned coming up. As a matter of fact, you're going to serve these people. You're going to have hors d'oeuvres here today.
We're going to have hors d'oeuvres right after the ceremony today, and then we will serve a prime rib or chicken breast dinner tonight at 7 o'clock. And then also downstairs tonight we have the Marine Corps birthday ball for the Champlain Valley Leathernecks going on here tonight.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I'm not involved too much with that because I feel my place is going to be with the family of Sam Ketchum for the day. But they're looking at 100 to 125 leathernecks downstairs from throughout the Clinton and Essex, Franklin County area, and I'm sure they're going to have a great dinner party down there because, as you know, November 10th is their birthday, their official birthday, and they've Mr. Warren Manor from the County Veteran Service Officer is their featured speaker. But beyond their other ceremonies, I'm not really sure.
Well, we saw Warren wandering around here today, trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening here, and what's happening with his veterans offices and our offices down in the county. So we get to see him even more than we get to see you.
Right. You're right. Warren,
this should be a great day.
I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping everybody will be happy and satisfied with what we've done, and we're just waiting for everything to materialize and come together.
We look over in the far wall and we see some sheets up over there covering things. What exactly is going to happen once we get underway?
When a past state commander goes out of office, he is presented with his American flag and his Legion flag as his memento for the year he served in office, which is a full-size 5x8 flags. Also, Mr. Ketchum Vance, back in 1969, between Jim Bean and Jack Daniels and a couple of others at the national conventions, regardless of what city it was in, came out with a decanter. And this run for 25 years, whether it be Boston, San Antonio, Seattle, whatever. And Sam has collected all of these.
Oh my.
And these 25 decanters right now are valued at over $15,000 because they're antiques.
Yeah, sure.
We have several of his gifts that were given to him the year he served as commander. We have some gifts that were given to him by his counterpart, the Ladies Auxiliary, who served with him that year, Mrs. Phyllis Bachman. And she will be here today. And 1977, she just served the tour as the national president of the Ladies Auxiliary. So we're very blessed to have these dignitaries coming here today.
Pretty decent when the family decides to make that kind of a contribution, and they can come back and visit those items anytime they want.
Anytime they wish. It's great, and they don't live that far away. They do have a son living right in Plattsburgh, so we're very proud in Post 20 to have this type of stuff to be displayed.
Before we get started with the official ceremonies, which will be in about 40 minutes from now, Art, let's talk a little bit about Post 20 American Legion and its history here in the North Country.
American Legion Post 20 was formed back in 1919. 3 months later, El Sable Forks Post was formed, 504. We're the two oldest posts in Clinton County. Our all-time high membership at one time was roughly 1,200 members. This was shortly after World War II. Our numbers have went up and down a little bit after Vietnam, but the Vietnam veterans are starting to come into Post 20. Of course, now you have a little bit of different dedication on a family level than what you had back World War II. The Legion seemed to be an outlet for them to come to and socialize and talk war stories, where now people are spending more time with their families. And once the family gets married and moves on, then they come and they're looking for another outlet, something to do. And this is what we've done. But the American Legion has sponsored American Legion Baseball for, well, I'm going to say well over 30 years, going way back to the Harry Demery routine
Oh, yes.
back when he coached the team for many, many years.
Well, we remember.
We've been very fortunate to have outstanding coaches of this team for many years. 1969, we won the state championship. We came close 2 years ago. We were runner-up. We do a lot of boys state. We send 13, 14 boys to American Legion Boys State every year. And Boys State is a program of a year that they spend 1 week at a college. Morrisville College, Alfred University, it varies where they may go. And they learn all about the government politics, the election of public officials. And this is on the military academies. This is one of the top 5 questions asked on any 4 of the top military academies. Have you ever attended American Legion Boys State? So we're very proud of that. Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this home compared to the old one, because we carried a lot of those ceremonies on Veterans Day outside Cumberland Avenue in the old Post 20 home.
The old Post 20 was located 1 Cumberland Avenue. Yes, we did have many, many ceremonies down there. That post has many memories in a lot of people's minds. Yet President Coolidge had visited that home at one time. Several secretaries of state had visited that home from time to time. But when it burnt in 1989, we were underinsured, which a lot of businesses are, veterans fraternal organizations, and we just didn't have the money to put it back to where we wanted. And we were looking for a little more parking space, so this property was offered to us at a reasonable cost, and we came up here and we built, and we're happy with the move. We're happy with the move.
Wonderful facility. You surely have made it a nice place since you came here.
Well, we try, and we just want to look forward to serving the community and serving the children and youth of our community with the best of our ability.
Yeah, you told me that you have quite a few weddings, banquets, parties, receptions.
We do a lot of weddings here. A lot of people come in here and get married, which we don't mind. Christmas parties, birthday parties, anniversary parties. We do several receptions after funerals for veterans, whether they're members or not. If they were looking for a place to meet, our post is open with open arms to them. And we try and take care of our veterans all right.
Do you have functions on a regular basis here almost every week?
Just about weekly we do. Our slow time might be January and February, but that's slow for most of them. But the Kiwanis meets here. The different clubs are meeting here. We keep pretty busy. You
got it set up good for today. Those hors d'oeuvres smell pretty good. We can't wait to see what's behind those curtains up there and to see this, all those memorabilia on display here in the future. That will be a very nice tribute to Vance.
Mr. Ketchum's widow is right behind you. If you'd like to ask her a few words while we're taping here before we start, I'd be glad to introduce her to you, Gordy.
We certainly will. Thanks a lot. As Art Maggie told us a few minutes ago, we're going to have some very, very distinguished guests here today. And I've got one of them standing right next to me. Is it Mary?
Betty.
Betty Ketchum. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks.
I'm doing pretty good. You and I have never met before, and I never met your late husband, but I understand he was a pretty special guy.
It certainly was. Certainly was. Now, to me and to the Legion, I believe.
How did you happen to decide to do all of this in Plattsburgh?
Well, we have a very small post in Long Lake. In fact, we do not have a post home. So I was looking for a place for all of his memorabilia. And I called the department headquarters in Albany and told them what I wanted to do. And Plattsburgh came forth, and they are in our district, and so that's why they were chosen.
They're a pretty neat bunch of people
They
up here
certainly
too,
are.
aren't they?
They certainly are.
Boy, are they thrilled to have you here today. This must be exciting for you.
It is. It certainly is. It just shows how much, the Legion meant to my husband and to me. The Legion family is pretty special.
Well, I'm glad you said Legion family, because it is a family
It
thing.
certainly is. Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of it, when you guys got started, and where you traveled to.
Well, we've been pretty much all over the state, and we've attended all the national conventions, and we moved to Long Lake in 1963. We came from the Finger Lakes area, and my husband kind of got interested in, well, I shouldn't say that. He was a member in the Finger Lakes area too, at Winnick Post in Geneva, New York. And when he came to Long Lake, I don't know, he just got interested and started climbing the chairs and, just, I don't know.
I know you went along.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I have a very special group of friends. And they're very special people.
Well, these Legionnaires here are very special to us. We've covered a lot of the ceremonies on Veterans Days and other very special ceremonies here today. I understand we're going to have some very important speakers here today.
Yes, I guess so. I don't know who all, but I know my son is going to be speaking.
Is he really? Tell me about him.
Well, he's just the youngest member of my family, and he's kind of the spokesperson for the family since Sam passed away, and doesn't seem to bother him to get up in front of people like me.
You said you might get tongue-tied during this interview, but you've done extremely well. How big a family do you have?
We have 4 children and 3 grandchildren.
Isn't that marvelous? Are most of them around the North Country, or?
They're all here today. Yes. One of them lives in Long Lake with me, and one lives in Saranac Lake, and one in Tupper Lake, and one in Willard, New York, which is in the Finger Lakes area. So.
That's marvelous to have your family around you and the grandkids.
Oh, yeah.
You don't spoil them a bit, do you,
Oh,
man?
no. I wouldn't think of it.
So tell me what all you've brought here today that will be here at this Legion that we can remember your husband by.
Oh, well, most of it's here. There's a portrait that my grandson did that's going to be up front.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, it's right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. I see some people standing in front of it right now.
Yes. And that's all I brought with me, but I brought all the children. Those are my special trophies.
But you'll be able to come back here and visit as often as you like. And
oh, yes. I feel very at home here. It's a nice post.
That's wonderful. Well, we welcome you here today. We didn't mean to put you on the spot, but it wouldn't have been a complete program without talking to you. We thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And for sharing the memory of your husband with us.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, Betty.
Thanks.
As I mentioned before, we got a whole group of very important people here today, and one of them is standing right next to me now. Sam Mayo, how are you doing?
Oh, good.
Tell me a little bit about your association with Mr. Ketchum.
Well, Sam and we started out in the American Legion quite a number of years ago, and Sam worked his way up to department commander, as you know, and I was district commander, and he helped me out a lot. Sam was a good man. He's going to be missed. He's been missed now already in the American Legion. He was a true member to get out there and get extra members and new members. He was great. He was a great salesman. Great man.
You were associated with him for a long time then.
Yes, I would say 35 years or 40 years. Something
I would
like that.
say that's a long-term friendship.
Yeah, it is. And he was a great individual. Very, very good.
Can you remember when you first met him?
I met Sam in a district meeting. Oh, I think it was down in Rensselaer Post down there. I was just starting out myself. Maybe I'd been in about 3-4 years, and that's where I met Sam the first time. And I knew right then and there that he was going to be the man someday that we would look up to, and he did. I mean, he was a great man. Great supporter of the American Legion. We've lost a big salesman.
I guess he was. It's nice to have his memorabilia here in this post, though, right here in Clinton County, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And this is going to serve as maybe a reminder to the younger Legionnaires that are coming in that they can aspire to this and this, to look forward to be a department commander someday, which he was. Of course, he also served on the National Executive Committee for 2 years. Oh, yes. He wore a red hat for 2 years. So, like I say, he was a great person for the American Legion. Couldn't ask for any better.
Let's talk a little bit about your history here in the North Country with the Legion and politics. You've done so many things.
Well, the American Legion, I go back 44 years in our area, post 767 in Champlain. And I started out, I can remember my first meeting I went to. I got discharged from the Air Force in 1954. I served from 50 to 54 in Lackland Air Force Base. I don't know if you know where that is, in old San Antonio. And I went to my first meeting, and they had a slot open for an officer's vacancy, which was service officer. And one of the older gentlemen got up and said, he's too young to have that, so we're going to make him chaplain. So I became a chaplain, and I got so upset over it that I opened a Legion magazine one day, and there was a course there on the American Legion, and it only was $10, but it walks you through every phase of the American Legion and what you should do in the meetings and what have you. So I took it, and a couple of years later, I became post adjutant, and I've held that for about 37 years now. I've been house chairman and everything, and then I became associated with the county. I was county commander, and then from there I went on to district, and I sort of said, whoa, you know, I didn't want to get burned out because I wanted to keep our Legion going. As you know, we almost lost it in the ice storm, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the people that came forward and helped us out. And we are now back on top. I wouldn't say way on top, but we're a lot better off than we were in January when we had expended all our funds and we didn't know how to pay our light bill. And, you know, those are gray days.
Very scary times for it. You know, you'd think with all the discussion about it, we'd be finished, but I see references to it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
People still have tremendous memories.
What amazed me is that the story that we gave to the Press Republican got onto the AP line and went to Vermont and all over. And there's a post in Vermont that sent us $1,000. Can you believe
kidding.
it?
I didn't even know that.
Yes, and there's a post out in the wine country, and right now I can't think of their name, of their post, but they also sent us $1,000. So you can see they came to our help, and we're back helping the seniors again, and we're going to have a Christmas party for the seniors again, and we're looking forward to getting back into the community again and helping out.
You know, when they talk about the American Legion family, they aren't kidding, are they?
Oh no, we're a big solid family, and we help each other out. Oh yes. And right now we've just put $1,000 into an American Legion Community Emergency Fund, and that has its own separate account. And if anybody wants to make a donation to it, it's fine. We're going to be meeting with Jeannie Roberts of the American Red Cross, and she's going to furnish us with some cots again. And we're going to be ready for the next one. I hope it never happens, but we're going to be ready.
You know, we thought we were ready for almost anything until that hit, but it was such a terrible, long-lasting thing that the effects will be around for a while. I don't think you can ever get ready for something like that.
No, it's impossible. You know, I never thought it would happen. And I was out there 31 winters as a mail carrier. And
oh, that's right, too. I forgot that part of your career.
Yeah, I got to know all the families.
Rain and snow and sleet, dark of night.
Gloom of night.
Gloom of night. That too.
That too. And I enjoyed it, and I got to know all the families, and it's nice now. I've been retired going on 12 years, and I meet some of the youngsters that used to come to the mailbox and reach up at I want the mail, you know, and today they walk up to me and they have a baby in their arms and they say, do you remember me? And, you know, you're lost. Yeah, but it's great. It's great to be remembered.
That's a great career. Let's talk about politics now. How did you ever get involved on the political scene? You did everything else, you might as well.
Almost by accident. There was a slot open, and I got a call and said, Gerald, would you mind going for it? And I lost the first one, and I came back, and I won. I was 2 years as a councilman. I resigned from that to take supervisor, and then I ran another term, and that was 6 years on the town board is enough, and I had 7 years on the school board. So I've been around the community.
Gerald, people say, why do you do so many things? And my answer is this North Country's been good to me. It's been a wonderful place to live and raise a family.
Absolutely.
How can you help but want to give back, right? I'm sure that's your attitude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great little community, and it's great. I graduated from St. Mary's Academy. It hurt me when I saw them lose the high school portion of it, but at least we still got the grade portion. And, get them to learn their prayers and do the basics, of religion. So,
yeah, you know what? I'm very interested. So is Calvin in Hometown Cable and the history of the North Country. And our little cable program called Our Little Corner has interviewed a lot of people and talked about a lot of historic events. We have so much history around here. It's fun to impart that to our kids growing up, and that I think includes the history of the American Legion here in the North Country. We got to get out there and educate the young people.
Right. On November 11th, I'm going to have the opportunity to speak to the Kiwanians on Armistice/Veterans Day.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm going to touch on the World War I and their big hero of World War I. And do you recall who that big hero is? I know you do.
Tell me.
Alvin C. York, Sergeant York. And how what he did, he captured 132 Germans and he killed off 20 machine gun nests. But the thing that's interesting to me, because I'm American Legion history, I'm sold on it. I just bought 2 books off from the internet for $65 just so I can read up on it. But he made some money on his movies, and he had chosen Gary Cooper to represent him. And he was having a conversation, and he happened to look over, and he saw Mr. Cooper had a cigarette in his mouth. And he got very upset over that.
Isn't that interesting?
Because he didn't want to be associated. He was a very devout religious man. And he didn't want to be associated with that type of behavior or his family. So Mr. Cooper sent him an autographed picture plus an apology.
Isn't that
And then the IRS came after Mr. York. And there's 21 American Legion posts in Tennessee rallied around him, and they raised $25,000 to pay off his IRS. And here's a man walking around with the Distinguished Cross and the Medal of Honor. But I guess the IRS, they don't care who you are. And that's very interesting for him.
Wow, what a great piece of history.
Yeah.
That's fun to learn that.
Yes, it is. He only went to the 3rd grade,
No, I didn't know.
Yep. He went only to the 3rd grade. He had never seen a railroad because he lived 40 miles into that, and he had no reason to go into town. He was a farmer, and he was engaged when he got to go into service. Oh, yes, it's a very interesting history. On the American Legion, I could talk all day on the history of it.
We don't mind talking about it because, as I said before, it's very important to learn that history and impart it to the younger generation,
yes,
so we can keep the numbers in the Legion up.
See, and then when the American Legion was formed in France, people don't realize that the seed of the American Legion was conceived in France, and the primary person was Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt Jr. His father was the 26th president. And there's a lot of little stories that go along with it. He got shot in the knee, and he was recuperating at a hospital, and he went for a walk, and he saw Sergeant Patterson was leaning up against a tree, and he said, "Oh, you're going home?" And yes, and why are you going home? And he said, "To start an organization for the veterans," and that's where the American Legion began. Because the first caucus in the American Legion was held in France, Paris, France. See, a lot of people don't know that. They think it was born. We had a very outstanding gentleman in New York State by the name of Hamilton Fish.
Oh, yes.
You remember him?
Very well.
He was one of the writers of the preamble to our Constitution of the American Legion. He was on that committee. So he
Didn't know that.
Yep.
Getting a liberal education here today, Jared. That's great, though.
Yeah. Like I say, I could go on forever, but you know that's one of the highlights of it. I enjoy it.
So this is a big deal for you, Gerald, today
Yes, it is.
to honor Sam.
Yes, it is. I'm glad that they're doing it because you know so many of these good Legionnaires are forgotten. This gentleman won't be. When you come and see what his little layout here, it's going to be great.
You stood and sat next to him on a few podiums before?
Oh yes, oh yeah, oh yeah. And we disagreed a few times, which is good. You know, that's what keeps it going. You know, it's great. It's great.
How many members do you have up north?
We've dropped down a lot because. Okay, you asked me a question. How many? About 160 something. We used to be way over 200, 275, 280, but we've lost through deaths and to moving away and the closing of Harris and all these little things, and you know it's hurt our membership. But we have a good core of workers, and it's going to be there for a while.
Obviously, a wonderful group of dedicated people, as they showed during that ice storm.
Yes, especially one gentleman there that stayed there for 10 days, Charles Langley. He stayed there for 10 days, didn't go home.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
What a story all by itself.
It's great, yeah.
Listen, Gerald, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to us before the program begins, because I know what an integral part you've been of the Legion, not only here in the North Country, but around this state for a long, long time. I want to personally thank you for that dedication on your own.
Fine, thank you. Thank you, Calvin.
Have a wonderful day, Gerald.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you. See you, Calvin.
I'm moving around the room a little bit. Actually, I'm trying to get closer to the hors d'oeuvres because we're supposed to have some after this ceremony is over. Not that I'm known for eating or anything, and I am trying to lose a little weight, but I'm standing up in front of the room here, this wonderful room downstairs at the Legion, Post 20 on Quarry Road, with Warren Manor, who's Mr. Legion himself for so many years and now works with and for veterans in Clinton County. This is pretty decent day we got here.
Yes, it is. It's a day that we can remember because we're going to be honoring one who himself was a great Legionnaire and who went on to nationals. He was a national executive member. And, you know, it's nice when the Legion family can get together and honor one of theirs. Unfortunately, Vance, Sam, the Tiger, Ketchum can't be with us today, but in spirit, I'm sure he's here.
We got to interview his wife. What a charming lady, and his family all here. Isn't that kind of neat?
Outstanding, outstanding. The Legion is a family. We are Legionnaires. We're auxiliary members, sons of the Legion. And the Legion is a family, and it's a family organization. We're family oriented. We do a lot of things for children and youth, baseball, and just to put a little plug in, Clinton County had the district championship again this year. Someday we're going to take the state championship.
Art Maggie was talking about that earlier. It's he and I go back to the way back to the Harry Demery days. So do you.
Yes, it was fine then. I think one year when Harry was our commander and leader of the baseball, we went on to the regionals that year. I think we got defeated in the regionals, and that's the farthest that the Post 20 or Clinton County American Legion baseball has gone, but we look for good things in the future. Like I said, we're a Legion family. We work together. We work hard, and greater and bigger things are coming in the future.
I'm glad you said family, because we just interviewed Gerald Mayo, who's talked a lot about the family of the American Legion, and he's learning a lot about the history of the American Legion. It's a wonderful history of supporting veterans and their families, and this organization does a lot for kids, for wives, and for other family members, not just the male veterans themselves, but the females too.
That's correct. And not only, but the American Legion has sponsored a lot of legislation in the past. The GI Bill of Rights, which got veterans the entitlements, the benefits that they were due, and not only that, they got benefits for their dependents, their spouses. And in the words of Abraham Lincoln, who I look up to a lot, is not only to honor those who have borne the battle, but to support their dependents, their widows, and their children, their orphans.
Besides this very special occasion here today, we got Veterans Day coming up in a very few days. On the 11th, we're taping this program on the 7th. So this is a very important time of the year for the Legion and for veterans everywhere, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one thing we have to remember now, today is a great day here at American Legion Post 20, but not only that, you have to remember that in 1775, on November 10th, one of the greatest fighting units in the United States of America was formed, the United States Marines.
Oh, I knew you'd get that. You and Maggie had to get that in there.
Well, I'm an old Navy man, so, but I boost the Marines because we took them there and we brought them back.
Don't you love it? Let's talk a little bit about your veterans organization that you work with every day of your life.
I'm director of Veteran Services for Clinton County, and what we do, we aid the veterans in Clinton County to help them to file their claims for VA benefits, help them, their widows, their children get the benefits that they're entitled to. It's a great job, and Gordy, I have never in my life been more gratified than I am now that I am a veteran serving veterans.
It's got to make you feel good. You've come the full circle from serving yourself now to serving other veterans.
Yes, and it's gratifying. Words escape me, to try to say exactly how I feel. When I go home at night after I close the office doors of my office, I know that today I have helped a veteran. Today, one more man in the United States of America is better off because of the job I've done.
Do you ever feel that that's what you were put on this earth for, maybe? Huh?
Only God knows. God works in strange ways, and our motto is for God and the Legion, so somehow we must be united.
Tell me the first time you met Sam. Can you remember?
That was quite a few years ago, and it's hard to remember because in my job I meet in the last 2 years I've met 600 and some odd veterans who I've worked for. I've been to department conventions where I've met past state commanders. It's very difficult to pinpoint a particular day, but having met Sam, I know that my life is just that much a little bit better.
I wonder where he got that nickname Tiger. Did anybody ever tell you?
Maybe Art Maggie could tell you that one, but he got Sam Tiger. His real name is Vance, but he got the nickname of Sam Tiger, and I'm not quite sure where he got it from, but I'm sure Art Maggie or some of the people here today
dates back way back into antiquity.
Yes.
Well, this is kind of a neat day. We're going to have well over 100 people here. It's just about 12 noon. Our program is going to begin in just a few moments. Warren, I want to personally thank you for all of your dedication, not only to the Legion, but to veterans here in the North Country. You're a super guy.
I don't deserve all the thanks. I want to thank you, Calvin, and all the other members of the news media of Clinton County. Since I have become director, I am very gratified at the effort put forth by the news media in Clinton County to bring my message and the message of the veterans forward to all the veterans. Thank you.
Thanks again, Warren, and we'll be enjoying this program in just a few moments. I lied. The ceremony isn't next. We got to talk baseball here. Who are you?
My name is Joe Whalen. I'm from Lake George Post 374.
And we were talking about Harry Demery and the Legion days in baseball, and you had a real connection with that. Tell me about that, Joe.
Well, I've known Harry for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, when I first got to know Harry, Charlie O'Toole and some of the other gentlemen then were involved with the Plattsburgh American Legion baseball team. And I heard a statement made that they kind of hinted that Post 20 was never a state champion. Wrong. Post 20 was a New York State American Legion baseball championships.
I was trying to remember the year, and it may have been 69.
I think 69 or 70 maybe, in that two areas years. But they were the state champions. And down in the O Post here in Plattsburgh on the back wall, they hung that banner for years, and I think when they left down there, then they probably folded the banner up and brought it. It's probably up here somewhere.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I hope it didn't burn. 'Cause they had a tremendous
it
fire
may
down
it
there.
may have. I'm not sure. Probably Art Maggie's the one that could answer those questions, but
Well, we had to clear up that little detail about the Legion
Yeah.
baseball team. Now, what was your association and how long?
At the time I was the 4th District American Legion baseball chairman, and I was for 10 years, and now I'm out of it, and Gary Fisher now is the district chairman.
Well, what a great connection! What way to help kids and
Oh, yeah.
to see them grow and.
Yeah, it's one of the finest programs there is. As a matter of fact, at that time, right after, maybe another 4 or 5 years, they had Dave Palmer and from down in Glens Falls who went on to play professional baseball with Dave LaPointe. So.
Oh, yeah, we've cranked out a lot of kids. It's great to talk to some of those kids, including some of my own who played Legion baseball. And I've got to tell you here and now, although I was never much of a baseball player, I played Legion baseball myself, and that's more than a couple of years ago. But it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today. This is kind of an exciting day, isn't it?
Yes. I've was a good friend of Sam's for years. And matter of fact, these gentlemen that you see here in the outfits, we escorted Sam into when he became department commander. This is the 4th District Color Guard.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
Okay.
and it consists of all the 11 districts, or counties in our district, and it's quite an honor to be here.
It's great to be here and on this date, and so many things being celebrated this week, including the anniversary of the Marine Corps and Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Huh?
Really nice to be here today,
Joe,
especially for Sam.
Thanks so
you.
much.
Yep.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to welcome everybody here on behalf of the American Legion and the American Legion family. This, I'm sure, is going to mean a lot to the family of the dear friend that we're dedicating his memorabilia to today. So at this time, I would like to ask members of American Legion Post 20 to unveil the display that we have put up in there, and badges on it. You people in the front row, please be careful when they pull the curtains, and some of them tags may fly. Pull easy. If you'll please rise the fabulous 4th District Color Guard to your rear with the colors. Color Guard, push! And salute. 1 and 2. We'll now have a prayer by 4th District Chaplain Norma. Please uncover.
Let's pray. Lord, you have given cause for the American Legion family to assemble at this point in time to witness the presentation and dedication of Mrs. Betty Ketchum, the flags and mementos of Sam Ketchum, Commander Passe, American Legion, Department of New York, to the Plattsburgh Post 20 American Legion. May these mementos repose in the sanctuary from here on. All this in thy name, amen. Amen.
Please be seated. At this time, we'll entertain a short welcome from American Legion Post 20 Commander Jim Page. Jim.
I'd just like to say welcome to everybody for coming out today, and it's good to see so many faces. And I want to tell you how proud we are to exhibit all of Sam's stuff here, and we hope that each and every one of you will, on occasion, drop in to overlook them again. And As you know, we're going to have food and stuff after and a meal tonight. And if anything we can do, just come forward and let us know. And thank you again for showing up today.
At this time, we'll entertain remarks from our Clinton County Commander, Wayne Farrell.
On behalf of Clinton County, I welcome everyone here and thank you for coming. But I give a thanks to Sam's family for sharing with us the American Legion, such a great thing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Wayne. This time, I'd like to call one of the family members up for a few words on behalf of the family, his son, Randy Ketchum.
Hello, I want to thank you all for coming. This is really nice. My family sort of talked me into being the spokesperson here. Talked me into it. I really didn't have a choice. They just decided. Mainly because they're all too chicken to do it, but also because I'm the youngest, and you know how the seniority system works. It's fine in the workplace, but as far as in the family system, it kind of sucks. When it comes to giving speeches, they say you should pick subject matter that you really know something about. My dad gave hundreds, maybe thousands of these speeches, throughout his lifetime. He was real good at it. He always picked subject matter that he was really familiar with, usually about America, the American Legion, veterans, and things like that. And I've probably given maybe 2 speeches in my lifetime, and that was because it was a requirement for my high school English class. I think one of them was on a famous rock star, and the other one was how to make a lamp out of a bottle or something like that. This may be a little bit easier because I am really familiar with the subject matter. It's my dad, I can tell you a few stories about what it was like growing up. I can remember one time when I was really young, when we first moved to Long Lake. I don't know if you'll remember this or not. We lived across from this place called the Rocky Dell. And as a family, we used to go across the street and go swimming a lot. And I must have been like 6 years old, and I had this brand new beach ball that I really liked. Somehow that beach ball got away from me and started drifting across the lake. Well, Dad swam and swam and swam and tried to get that beach ball back, and he just couldn't get it, and I felt so bad. But I was really proud of him because he tried and tried, and he just didn't get it. I think the next day he ended up buying me a new beach ball. There was another time when I was a kid that I used to collect the little Matchbox cars, Matchboxes and Hot Wheels and things. And a really popular item at Christmas time was these flimsy orange racetracks for them. They were crap, but all the kids wanted them, and I wanted one too. Well, Dad, being as practical as he was, he just couldn't see spending the money for one of these cheesy things. So he went in the wood shop and he built me one out of wood. He spent all weekend doing it. The thing was beautiful. But I didn't appreciate it because I wanted the orange thing like all the other kids. And I didn't realize, that he was really just trying to do something really nice for me. And I didn't appreciate that thing until some of my friends saw it. And they're all like, wow, this is great. I wish I had one of these, So I ended up being special because I had something that was different from all the other things. There's a lot of stories, family stories I can tell you. Some of my fondest memories were like the car rides that we used to have where we all sang and things like that. I can remember we used to sit around the supper table for hours just talking. Mom and Dad both smoked cigarettes then. That's probably why we sat there for so long, because they used to just sit there and smoke weed all talk. And they used to put their cigarette butts out on the dinner plates. If I did that now, you know what Mom would do? We were always really close like that. Those are the things I remember the most. Somewhere along the line, growing up, Dad always found time to work on the house, and without even realizing it, this thing turned into like this beautiful monument to his vision and his ambition. You know, have you seen the house? It's awesome. But that happened without us even realizing it. I mean, it just all of a sudden, one day we're like, "Why this place is nice?" We didn't realize it when we were living there. And there's not one of us, there's not one member of our family that doesn't feel completely at home and accepted there. You know, it's like, you know, no one knocks. You just kind of walk in and they're there. You know, it's home. But I can't paint a picture of Dad. I mean, he certainly wasn't perfect by any means. I mean, he screwed up along the way, and he'd admit it eventually. You had to give him some time. And I don't think there was any place where he was more comfortable than in his wood shop. And that's where I spent probably most of my quality time with him, was just hanging out in the wood shop, you know. And he always showed me new ways of doing things. And I would always do it my own way anyway. And for some reason, it never turned out quite as nice as the stuff that he did. But one thing that we shared, Dad and I shared, was an affection for beautiful women. And that's an evidence. I mean, look who he married. So I have a quote from a beautiful actress, Halle Berry. She's very beautiful and talented. And I found this quote. She says, "I think when you call somebody a hero, it's a very big deal. I don't know what a hero is. I don't know if there are heroes. I think heroes are people that persevere, that survive, that make contributions to this life that make it better. I don't think I've ever used the word hero because that's putting too much pressure on a human being." Well, that's what she says, but I'll tell you, I know what a hero is. That's my dad. Talk all you want about all these plaques and awards and trophies and all his accomplishments and everything, but I can speak on behalf of my family, and I think they'll all agree that his crowning achievement was creating this family and making us all as close and tight as we are, because it's certainly the greatest gift I ever got. I just want to point out that this portrait over here was done by Dad's grandson, Matthew, my nephew. I'd like to introduce the rest of the family, if I may. Next to Matthew there is Jim O'Hara. That's my brother-in-law. And Willie, my other brother-in-law. Next to him, Melissa Burnett. Keith Burnett. Across from him, that's my brother Steve. Down at this end of the table, that's Reggie Brown. That's my sister's fiance. My sister Kim. My other sister Sherry. They've both been a real pain in my life, I'll tell you. And last, but certainly not least, my mom. Thanks a lot for listening.
Thank you, Randy. This time, as everybody knows, or most people know, that Sam was a retired employee of the New York State Gas and Electric. And at this time, to give us a little bit of his know-how within that organization, and they're a great organization. I'd like to call on a friend of Sam, Tom Mahart, for a few minutes. Tom?
Randy, I can relate to this. I got volunteered for this thing about 10 minutes ago. I had a unique relationship with Sam. We not only were Legionnaires together, but we also worked together. Sam had 37 years with NYSEG when he retired, I think back in 1991. He came to NYSEG from Stanley, New York. He worked down there in Geneva, and he came to the little town of Long Lake to take up a job. I don't bet he can probably tell a lot more than I can why he decided to go to Long Lake, but as with the Legion, Sam did a tremendous job for NYSEG, and not only that, he did a tremendous job while he was in the Long Lake area and other organizations. I think there's only probably one other man in this room, along with myself, that can honestly say that we climbed the pole with Sam Ketchum. He was a good lineman, and he was one hell of an employee, as he was with the American Legion. 1986, 1987, of course, was when Sam was state commander, and we had again a unique relationship because I was Franklin County commander at that time. Joe Pellerin was Clinton County commander out of the Saranac post. So NYSEG was well represented that year. And I remember Lake Placid, and I remember the fundraisers before that for Sam. He did well for this area, and he did especially well for New York State Electric and Gas. I don't know whether I'm stepping on anybody's toes here when I talk about all the things he did in Long Lake. And I'm going to ask Charlie Kitchen to come up here, who probably worked with Charlie at NYSEG longer than anybody else. But Sam was very active in the rescue squads. I'm sure you're all well aware he was an EMT, the Boy Scouts, you name it. He was just a model employee. So I'd like to ask Charlie to come up. Charlie's always got a couple of words of wisdom as far as Sam. The stories about Sam at work are probably just as outstanding as the stories of Sam at his conventions, and wherever Sam went, you knew you were going to have a good time. Come on up, Charlie.
Charlie.
I should say thanks, Tom, but not really. Randy, you said 10 minutes ago, he's my boss. He says you will speak. Tiger, remember Tiger? Where else but in Long Lake? Can info come? Say, Tiger, 12847. Sam Ketchum. That happened many times. I'll relate to some of his work details I've had with him. I understand he and another employee went down one time to do some switching. There was an establishment right across the road from our substation, where Sam was going to have a drink now and then. So this other guy, he stayed there a while, and they said, we got to get back to work. Well, we can't go back now. Wait a minute, we know it. We picked up the popcorn, put this on. And I got no power up here. We knew send somebody down to work. Son of Sam's Andy. I'm trying to think of some of the other things we did. Randy mentioned something that brought up a good point we've done there with him. Didn't know when he might be at work during the day. Let time go off. There goes Sam. He was Long Lake's rescue squad. I guess 22 years as a member. He was a captain many of those years. He initiated the EFD, did James Life Support, did a lot of the training for that, did a lot of training for nights. He was our first aid trainer, initiated a lot of things for Nights Club, Speakers Club. I guess I can go on and on. I can't help but think some of the other things. I just can't think of some of the other things. Randy mentioned the one that brought up, and I got up here, I'm blind. But it's been a very good pleasure to work with Sam. It's been an honor. And it's a great family. And good mission on the home.
Thank you, Tom and Charlie, both appreciate it. Representing Hamilton County today is Ted Bain. Ted, why don't you get your home face yours?
fellow Legionnaires, auxiliary members, some to the Legion. It's an honor and privilege to represent Hamilton County at this dedication service honoring Sam Ketchum. Sam moved with his family to Long Lake in 1963. It did not take him long to become active in the community. He transferred his membership in the American Legion to Post 650 in Long Lake. He became a member of the local Masonic Lodge. He joined the rescue squad and became a Boy Scout leader, just to mention a few of his accomplishments. As a Boy Scout leader, he supervised the building of a fiberglass canoe, which was used on one of the many outings he took with the boys. On this trip, they canoed from Old Forest to Saranac Lake. As a member of the rescue squad, he was soon made captain, a position he held for many years. He also was an EMT instructor and held classes in many towns throughout the Hamilton County. He also became the first paramedic in Long Lake. A member of the American Legion, he took on many responsibilities. And it wasn't long before he became commander of Post 650. This time I'll have to tell you a little story. I think it was 1964. The state convention was in Rochester. And Sam had been elected to be one of the delegates and was going with us. Well, coming from Geneva, he wanted to go down and see his family, so he left a couple of days early. He was going to meet us there in Rochester. So when the day came, there was four of us, got into a car and drove down, went to the hotel, registered. Sam hadn't arrived, so we went out to look the town over, and we had probably walked 5 minutes from the hotel, and we were standing on the corner waiting to cross the street. Who comes up? It's Sam. And he stops. Oh, he says, come on, guys. He says, get in the car. He says, right back from the hotel with me. So we did. Well, like I say, we'd walked down here, probably took us 5 minutes. So we got in with Sam, and we started driving back to the hotel, which we could easily see from where he picked us up. 25 minutes later, we were right back to the hotel. Well, when we arrived there, we told him, we said, Sam, the ride was good. But after this episode, we got to tell you just one thing. No matter what you do from now on, you're going to go up. Well, that proved very true. It wasn't many years after this that he became Hamilton County Commander. And from there he took another step up the ladder to 4th District Commander, and then Department Police Commander, and on up to Department Commander, and from there it was up to National Executive Committeeman, representing New York State in the national organization. During this period, he also chaired many committees on all levels as he was climbing the ladder. He was a great gentleman to travel with, and everything he did, it had to be done right. And all of Hamilton County really appreciate what he did with the Legion, and we really enjoyed the many years that we had with him. Ladies and gentlemen, we can all be very proud to have known Sam and been called friend by him. God bless you, sir.
This time, I'd like to call in 4th District Commander Jim Hunt for a few words.
I'd like to say it's a great honor to be here for this dedication for Sam. It's a great loss to the family, I know. He's one of the best friends I had, and he's a great friend of the American Legion. The American Legion would not be where it is, especially in the 4th District, statewide and national, if it wasn't for Sam. He's irreplaceable. We'll all miss him dearly and think of him often, and I'm sure Post 20 is very proud to have the family dedicate this memorabilia and display it in their post. Thank you.
We had some letters of regret from past National Commander Michael Pokotacek. Alternate NEC Bill Purcell, past Department Commander Jack Harris, and also Anthony Renee. This time I'd like to read a letter from the American Legion Auxiliary President, Anna Ballard. Thank you for the invitation to attend the ceremony to memorialize the state colors of past Department Commander Sam Ketchum. I regret that I will be unable to attend, as I will be hosting the National President Virginia Hobbs at the same time. Please extend my regrets to Sam's family, who I had the opportunity to know and admire. I know that there will be many of Sam's friends there to honor him, and I truly wish I could be among them. Also a letter from Department Commander Robert Morrell. Thank you very much for your invitation to join you on Saturday, November 7th, as you memorialize Sam Ketchum by enshrining his department colors and other artifacts at Plattsburgh Post 20. Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend as I have a previous engagement in Nassau County on this date. As you know, he is doing his county visitation. Please extend to Sam's family and many friends that I know will be in attendance my deep regret for not being able to attend. Please also give Betty a big hug for me and tell her that she is in my prayers. Sam was a great friend of mine for many years, which makes it so much harder to not be in attendance with all of you. I know Sam would understand, however, why I can't be with you. Looking forward to returning to Post 20 someday to view the memorial we are building for an outstanding Legionnaire and friend. This time, the two people I'd like to recognize that won't be speaking today, but they deserve the recognition. Past Department President Betty Light. Past Department Commander Ronald Bertram. Past Department Commander Alton Carpenter. There's a couple of past Department Commanders that wish to say a few words. This time I'd like to call on H. Gordon Burley.
Thank you, Art. You've heard a lot of good things about Sam, but you know, he was a loudmouth son of a gun. And, you know, you never could please him. And if looks could kill, I and a number of other referees up at Long Lake would be long gone. But we'd go to the Cobble after the game, and after about 10 minutes of Sam berating our efforts, that smile would come across his face, and we would talk about better things. And it was at one of these events that an incident happened. Unfortunately, Joe Potter is not here to tell it. He got the nickname Tiger, and he carried it with him for a long time. And like Charlie said, he got letters from all over the country. Tiger, 12847. One came from Central America. Tiger, 12847 USA. 2 or 3 were sent to the wrong zip code, and the zip code was crossed off, and 12847 was written in. He had quite a collection of those. Needless to say, other than being a basketball fan of Long Lake, he was a great guy and a good friend.
Thank you, Gordon. This time I'd like to call on Robert Neville, who was Department Commander last year.
Thank you for that kind introduction. What a beautiful day to memorialize Sam's collection here. When it comes to Sam Ketchum, two words come to mind. The first word is pride. When Sam represented the Department of New York, he represented the ideals and the objectives of the American Legion with a lot of pride. Traveling around the state as department commander, you get a good feel for those that have gone before you. And I can tell you that anyone that met Vance Sam Ketchum respected him. That's the second word, respect. Sam earned the respect of all the Legionnaires in this great state of New York. And it's a tribute to any past department commander when you leave that great office to leave with each and every Legionnaire as a friend. If I remember correctly, one of the hardest things about leaving the office of Department Vice Commander, Commander, is when they present the colors to you on that last day. And I remember being in Buffalo, and it's hard to hold back the tears, and I'm sure Sam was that way. But I can tell you on the day that Sam went out, it was in Lake Placid, where he had his convention, and I'll tell you, all those Legionnaires up in the sky let their tears out that day. You remember it well, don't you? It's a pleasure for me to be here, and I wouldn't miss it, and thank you all for coming. Thank you very much, and thank you.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to call to the front a lady that served with Vance Ketchum as his Department Auxiliary President back in 86, 87. And exactly 10 years later, she went on to become National President. This time, it's a great pleasure to introduce Phyllis Bachman.
My recollections of Sam don't go back as far as many of you. I know you've known him for years. Sam and I met in the early 80s, about the time I decided I wanted to be a candidate for Department Vice President. And soon found out that Sam was slotted to serve the same year that I would be going up. And Sam was very eager to be helpful and cooperative early on, and suggested that perhaps when we were traveling, he come over to Jefferson County in the Thousand Islands and pick me up, and we would go on from there. I said, Sam, you don't want to do that. And to illustrate that he didn't, I had invited Sam and Betty to spend a weekend, and he was a speaker at my post. After one trip to the Thousand Islands, we arranged a very satisfactory agreement whereby I would drive to Syracuse or Utica, and we would meet there and go on. But the thought was there, and I appreciated it very much. From the time I became Department Vice President until the time I assumed office as Department President, Sam was anxious to become more familiar with me and vice versa. So he was very cooperative, and he sent me a newsletter from Hamilton County American Legion. Now I was very impressed to receive this. I thought, a county as small as Hamilton, sending out their own newsletter. Well, it didn't take me too long to find out that Sam was the sole reporter, the editor, the publisher, and the underwriter. So I asked him what was going to happen to the paper when he took over as commander, and he said, well, I'm afraid that's going to go by the wayside. And when Sam stopped, there was nobody else there to take it up. And I think that's why a lot of things have happened, because Sam was there, and only Sam was there to keep them going. He's just that kind of person. He had the responsibility, and if he believed something would help the American Legion, he would do it. Well, we did travel together around the state. Very often, if there was time in the afternoon, Sam would want to make a stop at the American Legion, either the one we were visiting that evening, or maybe one en route to a place we were visiting. And during our visits, after the dinner and the speeches were all over, Sam could be found out at the lounge, chatting and standing for the rest of the evening with the Legionnaires. He never was satisfied sitting down at a VIP table. But I found out that this was Sam's strength. He was a Legionnaire's commander. He was the type of person that a Legionnaire felt very comfortable approaching and left feeling as though he was his friend. Any Legionnaire that didn't know much about the organization would feel much more comfortable and feel a camaraderie, and I'm sure many, many Legionnaires were encouraged to go on to service in their American Legions because of Sam and that easy way he had about getting familiar with people. And I think that's probably one of his greatest contributions to the American Legion in New York and also in the district, the 4th District. One of the other things, he was always willing to go along with people too, and I can remember a couple incidents. At the beginning of the year, I was a little thinner than I am now, and I was very worried about losing my, quote, shape. So I thought, there's one thing about me that keeps me going. I have a very competitive spirit, and if there's a contest for anything, I absolutely have to win. So I decided I could keep myself thin by having a contest with the commander and challenging him to keep his weight down. And whoever was going to lose or gain the least pounds by the time the year was over would be declared the winner, and the other one would have to spring for a dinner for the 4 of us. And he was game. Now, at the very end, I was getting worried because he was eating less. First of all, our weigh-in was at National Convention. Late in the evening, after he had been heavily involved with a beer party, so it was not to my advantage. He weighed in very heavy. And so at the end, I was getting very worried. In the last few days before convention, I went on diuretics because I can't stand to lose a contest. Well, to tell you the truth, we both weighed in far less than we had originally weighed at the beginning of the contest. So Sam was quick to declare himself the winner, and I said, not so fast, fellow. I said, the contest was worded, whoever gains the most weight has to take the other one out for dinner. You gain 0, I gain 0, it's a tie. But he was had a very good sense of humor that way. Another thing that I did that he was willing to go along with, and I'm not sure that he really was eager to do it to begin with, but it turned out to be a fun thing. I visited Prospect Mountain in your 4th District for some ceremonies at one point in my career as department president, and found out they had walking trails up the mountain. And I had never climbed a mountain before, and I just thought it would be a neat quest. So I challenged the commander to climb up with me. I had to have somebody to climb with me. I couldn't do it by myself. And he was game, and we climbed the mountain, and it was just a fun thing. That's the only mountain that I ever climbed to that point, and the only one I've climbed since. So, but it was just a fun activity, and it just shows Sam's personality. He was willing to get along and go along and cooperate with anyone. And that's what I remember him for. I also remember him for his great family. I got to know Betty very well, and really admire Betty and value her friendship. They not only opened their home to us and their hearts to us, but to a foreign student who stayed in their home so that she could visit Lake Placid. And when Sam passed away, I was over in Sweden visiting that family. But they remembered you well, and the girl remembered her experience in the Adirondacks. We still have the picture, Betty, where we were on the steps, the Olympic steps, with Christine and you and me, and I will cherish that as I do many, many other memories. Sam gave a lot to community, gave a lot to Legion, gave a lot to friends and family, and for that he'll be missed by all of us.
Thank you, Phyllis, for extending your memories. A great year with a great individual. Our guest speaker today is a great gentleman, friend of the American Legion. He served this great department as commander in 1969-70. He served as the National Executive Committeeman in 71, and again he took over in 1977 through 84. At which time he resigned and became our department adjutant in 1984, under which many, many department commanders have served. He has been their guidance and assistance, but he has never stopped them from doing what they want. At this time, it's a great pleasure to introduce the great Legionnaire, our department adjutant, Richard Beagle.
you very much, Art. I don't know what I could add to what's been said today. The background, the work, not only in the American Legion and community, Sam did. Remember working with him, and it just seems that I've known him forever, because I remember when I was Department Commander 69-70, I knew Sam then. And I was looking over the background and see that, of course, he joined the American Legion in 1954 when he left the Marine Corps, served in the Marines in 1950, 1954, served 1st Marine Division, and joined in Winnick, 396 in Geneva, and I see that he spent 10 years in Geneva, and much of that activity is part of a drill team. And why not? An ex-Marine, or a former Marine, he would have corrected me immediately. And of course, he always got a kick out of it. We always got a kick, because when I'd see him, and he knew I being an old sailor, a sailor of long standing, and he being a former Marine, we always had, I always had a few remarks about the Marines for Sam, and he about the Navy, but we got along very, very well. But Sam's career, as I say, I've indicated, I've practically known him all the time. I don't remember him at Winnick. I do remember him at Long Lake, but I see in 1964 he went to Long Lake and became involved immediately there. He was an adjutant for many years, so he can't be a bad guy. So, and he had all the offices, of course, as the commander, and the vice commanders, and committee chairmanships throughout his post, throughout his county, and throughout the district, and beyond to become the department commander in 1986, 1987. And then from that point on, of course, he was very involved nationally, the National Security Commission, Foreign Relations Commission. He was the chairman of the Civil Defense Preparedness Committee for 2 years, and was as a member of the National Security, or the National Foreign Relations Commission when he left us. His work at the national level, at the department level, and as many of you know, at the local, most and county levels, is just outstanding. His dedication to the organization. Not only his dedication to the organization, but his dedication to family, dedication to the community, because of his activity in the fire department with the Boy Scouts. He was a free and accepted Mason. He was a master there in 1969, and his involvement with the American Legion. I was at a legislative conference in Albany, I think it was 1979, I believe it was, 77 or 79, when he applied CPR and saved the Legionnaire's life. And I see in the background, of course, he was cited for that from the American Legion, and just an indicator of, he was always there at the right time to help his fellow man. Done a great job. It was always a pleasure to work with Sam. Of course, we had Klein, Clout, and Ketchum in that order. And of course, Sam capped that threesome. Klein was a pretty tough guy to keep up with, and I was younger then. And then George tapered it somewhat, and then Sam come along. Tiger is right. Tiger is right. And they've done a great job. We had a great time. We visited everybody at all hours. We closed many legions up, only because we were involved and listened to the troubles and the tribulations of all the members. And we were concerned for that. And that's the only reason we were there that late. And I did catch him one time talking to himself in the mirror, because he thought there was one guy left and he'd been there 15 minutes. Talking to him before I finally got him out of the area. And as Gordon made reference to the rain in Lake Placid, which Sam, of course, baptized all of us as we come down the hill and we hit the main drag, and then just wham, there was a cloud burst, and it was compliments of Sam, welcomed us all back into his area. You know, seriously, for a moment, I think of that, the rain, and now I think for a moment as I left that cemetery early in the year and looked back, as I looked back at Sam and saw those large, soft, heavy snowflakes dropping down, just drifting down. And I said, son of a gun, Sam, you did it again. You're going to fix this on the way home. You're going to have this snowflakes again. But I looked back and saw them, just that, those large flakes from on Sam. He's a great, great guy to work with. Great man. As I say, we teamed well together. He was one of the, well, I've had a great crop of department commanders to work with. Sam had to be one of the best to work with. He was very easygoing. Had a good mind, had a strong mind, decided what he wanted, and went for it. Great personality. A few times he could get a little fiery. I can imagine. I remember the time we first went into the Buicks. We bought the 86 Buicks. Commander got an 86 Buick, and the adjutant got an 86 Buick. That's what we went in. Prior to that, we had Pontiacs, and another commander wanted a Ford. We determined at that point, look, it's a company car. You're going to have to be satisfied with a company car. We're going to go with a Buick. Well, Sam got the first Buick. We got the first two Buicks, actually. And they were the Sabres. And beautiful cars. Sam was having problems. He says, darn car. I couldn't say darn, but the battery kept blowing up. I said, what's wrong? I don't know. And he tinkered, he messed with it, and he'd be gone somewhere. And it happened to him. Once on a throughway, once coming down. And so we said, let's go up to the dealer and finally get this straightened out once for all. So we went to the dealer. Sam went in there and very nicely, and had some problems with the cars, we had them 3 or 4 times. And so they started, yes, Sam, or not Sam, but yes, Mr. Ketchum, we'll try to take care of it. What do you mean you try to take care of it? I'm telling you right now, I'm calling WGY radio, I'm calling TV stations, because if you don't fix this car in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to drive this damn thing right through that showroom window. I'll tell you, the car was fixed at that point. And they didn't have any problems with that car after that. But those are the things that we can remember, and as Randy referred to, some of the things he did to the family. You can imagine what he did as a family, a great family man, and as I say, he had a very warm heart, a gentleman that you could work with, deal with, have a lot of fun with. Never forgot the Legionnaires, as you say. He was a Blue Cap Legionnaire through, and he just never forgot. We went out throughout the state, traveled through the state, and then traveled through the national organization. I'll remember the national organization, the work that he did, the quality he did, and the feelings that people had for him. I'm pleased and proud to have the opportunity to stand before you to extol some of Sam's great virtues. Congratulate Post 20 for the great job. Exhibiting his memorabilia, his colors. Look at that picture with the twinkle he's got in that eye. He always had that twinkle in the eye. He always had that chuckle. Remember one time he walked in my office, we were having a department Christmas party, Santa Claus walks up to me, hey, Pedro, hey. I said, come on, Sam. How the hell do you know me? I said, I can tell by your eyes. I can see and I guess I'm disappointed by the fact that I didn't know who it was, but I could listen. I mean, chuckling, you can see it right in his eyes, the sparkle in his eye. He's a great guy and a dear, dear friend. We had a lot of fun together, and certainly miss him. We had the opportunity, my wife and I, 2 years ago, when we traveled south for vacation, stopped at Myrtle Beach, see Betty and Sam, had dinner together, enjoyed ourselves, and look forward, of course, the next year to do that. And I was in Myrtle Beach, Betty, just 6 or 7 weeks ago at my ship's reunion, and obviously my thoughts, of course, with Sam, and had he been there, of course, we'd have brought him over and made him an honorary crew member. He probably would have liked that. But I'm delighted to be here today with all of you as we honor the memory of this great guy. He was quite an engineer. At this time, if you will, please, I'd like to read a memorializing resolution for the national organization. And, that in itself will give you a feeling of the thoughts at that level of the organization. This memorializing resolution from the American Legion, Ketchum, New York. Whereas it pleased Almighty God, the great commander, to summon his immortal legions, our beloved comrade, Ketchum, Department Vice Commander 1977-78, Department Historian 1980-1982, Department Commander 86-87, alternate National Executive Committeeman 1987-1989, National Executive Committeeman 1989-1991, National Foreign Relations Commission 1993 till time of death. Whereas we humbly bow to the will of the divine providence, while ever cherishing in our hearts the memory of his distinguished service to our country and his outstanding contributions to the American Legion comradeship, now therefore be it resolved that the National Executive Committee of the American Legion, a regularly assembled on this 6th day of May in the year of our Lord, does mourn the passing of our distinguished Legionnaire, Ketchum, that we commend all men his works, and that God his spirit, and be it further resolved that in token of our common grief, a copy of this resolution be presented to his family. And it is hereby certified that the foregoing resolution was unanimously adopted at the meeting of the National Executive Committee of the American Legion held in Indianapolis, Indiana, on May 6, 1998, and signed by Commander at that time Anthony G. Jordan, National Commander, and attested to by Robert W. Spinogle, the National Adjutant. Let me bring this over to you, Betty. thank you very much to allow me to have the opportunity to speak a few thoughts about the great region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick. Before we conclude, we just want to announce that there will be outdoors set up out there. Please give us a few minutes to put some tables out here for you. We got a dinner tonight, prime rib or grilled chicken breast, $6.95. Because, and I know how Legion function works, you can't get a good count of numbers. The two ladies to my left in red will take your reservations. They don't need your name. We're just looking for numbers of each. Due to the Marine Corps birthday ball being held downstairs, dinner will start right around 7 o'clock. So if you're planning on coming to dinner tonight, and I hope all of you are, we have plenty of food. Please let the two ladies know sometime in the next 20 minutes, half hour. At this time, I'd like to call in 4th District Chaplain Norm Buck.
Lord, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Lord, make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, hold his countenance upon you and give you his peace from this day forward. Amen.
Before we salute the colors, I want to thank Hometown Cable, Mr. Castine, for coming down and taping this. It will be aired at a later date in this area for everybody to view. We really appreciate your dedication to the veterans in this county and the surrounding counties. You're a great asset to this community. Hometown Cable. I also want to thank the 4th District Color Guard for assisting with the colors that Sam so graciously served under. At this time, with the colors being in place, and salute. Oh. 2. Please retire the colors, and again, I thank you for coming. Please do things, and please, I don't do windows, as my wife told me. I did a poor job polishing, so please feel free to look at everything up there. Good job.